Hi, this is Justin Prime. Welcome to my weekly show, Jprimecast. This is my time to reflect on my week and discuss some wins and losses. I call it the Artist Inventory Challenge. I also share my thoughts and other stuff along the way. Each week, I look into my Instagram feed and see who the last person was to show up, and let's take a look. And that is the person that I'm dedicating this episode to. That person is Middleton Empire. Oh, that's awesome. Middleton, he's been a tremendous follower for quite a while, so I'm happy to be calling her name out. Middleton, Carrie, this is for you, man. Carrie, I see that you are an artist as well. I was looking through your feed. Looks like you draw a little bit, man. I probably knew this, but I forgot. But yeah, you got some cool shit on here. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember seeing this. You do like shirts and stuff. Wow, right on. He's also got this picture here with him wearing a Optimus Prime kids mask, and he calls himself Dadimus Prime. I did the same thing when my daughter was born almost 9 years ago. I made this shirt that says Dadimus Prime on it with the Autobot symbol, and it's a pink shirt. I still have it. Yeah. So, Carrie, before I get rolling with the episode proper, I want to talk real quick about being a part of a community. This is just a real quick topical thing before we get rolling here. I've realized how important it is to be a part of a community. I talked about this. I have an upcoming mini cast. I think it's going to come out in a week or two, where I reflect on some thoughts that I got from Carlos Mendoza III. He's a very, very talented artist and someone. He's actually the first person that I interviewed um, on my YouTube channel. And the full interview can be found, I believe, here on the podcast if you go back. But he talked about being a part of a community and how important that was. And I think I'm finally understanding that. Like I knew that, but I'm really starting to get it. I used to draw in the mini cast. I talk about this, but I'll touch on it here too. I used to draw with Color Lab and a couple other friends. We would meet up at Color Lab's house. If you don't follow Color Lab, you absolutely must. It's KOLOUR Color Lab. So I used to meet up with him and a couple of friends, and we just draw and talk, and it was really good. It was there was a lot of encouragement. You get exposed to new ideas. There's growth through getting honest feedback from people you trust. It was super fun. Um, and then you can realize that all of your self doubts or anxieties or whatever, like it's normal. You're not abnormal for having those kinds of thoughts and feelings. Um, so there was so many benefits to just being a part of an artistic community of and not just like anybody. It was well, actually, what's funny was for the four of us, we were alike enough to where it was beneficial, but also different enough to where it's beneficial. And I think there's a huge benefit to being a part of a community of people that are like-minded and on a similar path to you. So, Carrie, and anyone listening to this, with that in mind, I started a community. I call it the Jprimecast community. It's an actual community on Discord. Discord is a gamers like app where they can chit chat with each other while they play games or whatever the fuck they do. But we use it for showing off art and all kinds of other stuff, and I'll get into that later on in the episode. But being a part of a community it's really important. I feel like I'm benefiting already, and we're only like a week into it, if that. But I feel like I'm benefiting, and I think the other people, the feedback I've gotten so far is that they're benefiting on many levels. So, man, being a part of a community, there's just so many benefits to it. If you're listening to this and you would like to become a part of the Jprimecast community, just all you got to do is message me and let me know. The fact that you're listening to this tells me a lot. I don't want anyone and everyone there. It's only by invite. But if you're hearing this, that means that you've gotten far enough along and that you have the same kind of mindset as me and the rest of my community. So, if you're hearing this, you're in. I'm not going to announce this anywhere else but the podcast. It's a community that is a direct component of this podcast. Honestly, I think if you want to get the most out of this, what you're hearing, you definitely should be joining the community. So, Carrie, if you want in, I'd love to have you there. And anyone else, if you want to be a part of it, let me know. Just all you got to do is send me a message, and I'll talk about it more a little bit later on. All right, well, let's get rolling here. I'm going to do the Artist Inventory Challenge. The Artist Inventory Challenge. This is where I take stock of my week and I give an honest reflection of what I'm doing, what I did right, what I did wrong, where I need to grow. So let's look at what my projects are for the week. And this is the same as it's been pretty much since I started the podcast, I think. Scolder Stories issue 3. That's my independently owned comic book. Astro Pig. That's my kids book that I am working on, obviously. And fundamental skills, just improving my fundamentals like anatomy and values. And then last is the social media / podcast, just my whole social media outreach kind of stuff. Those are my main projects. I think that's it. Those are my main projects. So let's talk about what obstacles there are per project this week. There has been a consistent theme, which is I've had too many projects. And last week, there was actually a couple more projects that weren't necessary, but was taking on anyways. This week, I'm back to my 4 basics. So with Scolder Stories issue 3, here's some obstacles that I came across. I don't like my script anymore, and fuck, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. I started having doubts about it. Not like it's not good enough doubts, but like just me being honest with myself and realizing, no, this is not good enough. Not good enough to you guys, but just to the reader, but more like I'm not satisfied with it, you know? Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, I didn't like it anymore. It was a bit too thin on content, like dialogue was pretty damn thin. Very, very heavy on action, which it might have been too much. I think I just kind of had to get that out of my system at least to like write it. So I'm starting over from scratch. Not from scratch. I'm starting over though. I have the basic direction that I want to head in, and the heart of it's going to be the same, but I think it'll be better. It has to be really. So man, this is having to rewrite the script. It shouldn't take that long. But last night I attempted to work on it because that was one of my goals from last week was to finalize the script, and I ended up I didn't finalize it at all. I am starting it over, so I did not meet my goal from last week, but I am making progress in this area because I think ultimately it'll be a better product. So this is it's over. Oh man, I was staring at my screen last night and it was just overwhelming to think. I had to rewrite everything and I have to tie it into what I've already written in the past and what I have planned out for the future in the 6th series. It was so overwhelming. And I started thinking about brainstorming. Okay, what are the paths I can take? And it came down to like 3 different paths of how to tell the story and what happens in it. And so I was like, all right. At first, I was just thinking about all of them, and I was ruminating on it. I kept thinking about it and thinking about it, and it was just too much to keep in my head all at once. So I started writing it down and outlining each potential storyline, and one of the 3 clearly became the option to go to. So I'm glad I wrote things down just to kind of anchor myself. So it is overwhelming. It was kind of defeating, but obviously not completely defeating because I found my path. I got my inspiration there, and I'm going to push forward. So not totally defeating, but for a moment there, it was pretty damn overwhelming. Like just that it was hitting me that I wasn't ready to go, and if my script's not ready to go, to me like nothing's ready to go. Yeah, I think a script's pretty damn important. So those were my obstacles for Sculpture Stories issue 3, and then I had another obstacle. Not exactly, but it's more of a potential obstacle, and it's something that kind of makes me realize what's important to me. So I haven't been shy about sharing that Scoldger's Stories was inspired by my younger brother. He came up with the initial design for the Scoldger. So I feel like Scoldger Stories was never quite 100% mine, obviously. He gave me permission to use the characters and to build upon them in the universe and whatnot. But it wasn't 100% mine. or it isn't. And that's that's I'm realizing I have a hard time with that because he is working on a story called Mixed Martial Animals, and that involves the Scourgers. It takes place within my universe on the planet of Two Echo, and if you've read issue 1, you know what that's about. So his and that was the original place where I learned about the Scourgers, was his script for Mixed Martial Animals, which he had written, I think, as a book. And then I said, hey, this would be a cool comic book. And so he wanted me to do that. I think that's how it unfolded. But he's ready to start working on Mixed Martial Animals. I don't know what media he'll use. I think he likes the idea of an audiobook, because I had kind of mentioned that to him. He thought that'd be a cool idea. Um, so basically, we have two people working on something that directly involves Scourgers. And while this can be a really cool thing, and he and I have a good working relationship, I don't think that'll be an issue. Um, this could be a good thing because I think the more Scourgers that are out there, the better, and they're both considered canon. And I think we're both very creative people that can execute on our visions pretty damn well. I know he is, and I believe I am. But it's just the idea of, like, it's not mine completely. It's not completely mine. So I do Scourger stories, which involves Scourgers. He does Mixed Martial Animals, which involves Scourgers. But the focus is on these animal creatures, this team of 4 animals that are like humanoid animals, like Ninja Turtles, or like more like Kung Fu Panda, like the team, from Kung Fu Panda, similar to that. And his designs are great. The stories get really good. So it's a good product. But the Scolders in his story are like a bad guy. Like, they're just like grunts, and there's different classes of them and whatnot. But it's like the droids from Star Wars or something. Like, it's just like this horde of bad guys. So we don't get to learn anything about them in particular. And mine's all about getting to know each Scourger in particular, and who they are, and their background, and expanding upon the universe of the Scourgerverse. So that works well together. That's fine. It's just more of the idea that I don't completely own this, and I wouldn't feel right. If anyone ever wanted to, like, buy the rights to Scourger stories, I wouldn't feel right doing that, and that just, it might potentially create bigger issues, and so all this stuff's kind of hitting me, and I know he's thought about it as well. We talked about it, I think yesterday, yeah. And I was telling him, like, I'm having a hard time with seeing you create stuff, because I've thought so much about the world, And then he put out his own designs, and inside I'm kind of freaking out, like, no, like, I've mentioned before, like, that I have control issues with this. I want to control everything. So to see someone else do a Scourger design, damn, it just kind of kills me inside. But I have no claim to it. I can't say shit. So that's something I realized, how important it is that I work on something that's 100% mine, and that I have complete control over it. Like, I have to. And I'm glad I'm realizing this. I think being self-aware is a big deal, like Gary Vee says. So, not a huge obstacle, but just more of me realizing something. And by the way, sorry if my breathing is all messed up. My wife made some absolutely killer fajitas, and I went crazy on it, and I'm like huge right now, so I'm having a hard time breathing. um, so yeah, that's an issue for me right now. Just thinking about it. So honestly, like, in all honesty, it makes way more sense for me to focus on Astropig, because that's completely mine. I like it a lot. It's super fun, and I could probably produce it a lot faster because it's not panel by panel; it's page by page. And I've already got the first story written. Like, but I mean, really, Scourger Stories has become it's what's driving me. It's more my priority. I really, really like it. I love it. I'm really passionate about it, but it's not totally mine. That just fucks me up. And I think it's something I've known for quite a while, but I've just kind of ignored it, because I was so into it. But now it's kind of hitting me that, like, oh, no, this is a potential issue, and it's not something I ever want to deal with. I never want to deal with bickering with my brother or any family member about something creative like this, or who owns what and shit. Like, it's just, I'd rather abandon Scolders altogether than get into anything remotely close to that. So for now, I will be finishing the 6 issues. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. And there's no issues between my brother and I. Like I said, we've talked about it already, and we know what we're working on. And he's respecting that I've written a lot for the Scoldverse, and he's collaborating with me on it. And so everything fits together nicely. It'll be fine. And he's got this really cool style to him. It's like his goal is to make it look like a cartoon, like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I don't think that quite captures it because it's such an extreme style, but it's got that feel to it, that friendly, like innocent kind of feel to it. So whatever he creates is going to be really, really cool. I know it. He goes by @Funul FUNUL on Instagram. If you want more Scolders, and I would definitely be following him because he'll go into his story MMA. But he's also got other really cool content on there. He's a great person to follow. He recently, I would love to interview him about this. He used to do these things called Fakemon, which is like Pokemon, but like the artist, the creator makes up their own Pokemon. It's called Fakemon, and so he gathered this. His follower count exploded. He surpassed me. He was up to like 11,000 in a very like quickly because there's such a small but passionate group of followers for Fakemon. And so people are really, really into it. So he stopped doing that recently, and he lost a bunch of followers. I guess they were pissed off at him. And now he's doing all these creator-owned things, and every single one of them is just super creative. I'm very jealous of him. But he's worth a follow for that alone, but also because he's adding to the Scoldverse. All right, so those are my obstacles for Scolder Stories. For Astropig, I don't think I really have an obstacle besides just time. Astropig is important to me, and I want to do it, but that has taken a back seat, I've noticed. And then obstacles for the social media and podcasts. Honestly, again, nothing I can really see this week besides time and too many projects. Time was an issue this week. It was a weird week. Yeah, I had a couple of days where I took off work, but I had to be with the kids, and I don't get any work done when I'm with the kids. This weekend, my son didn't go to sleep until like 9:30 tonight, and that cost me like half an hour. Usually he's asleep at 9. Then it was Easter the night before, so that sucked. That the Easter Bunny was putting shit out, so that ate away at my time to be creative. Busy at work, didn't have much time to do any sort of sketching there during my breaks, so it's been a weird week. And it has nothing to do with me being lazy and playing video games. It's been a weird week, and finding that time to actually draw has been difficult. So besides those, I mean, those were the biggest obstacles, and those are my constant obstacles. Honestly, with social media and the podcast, there's been some huge wins, and I can't wait to talk to you about those later on. But some big, big wins, or at least for me there. And then with my art skills, I did not meet any of my goals with art skills. But last week the goal was to draw from real life or from photo reference. I didn't do that at all. Not much excuse. Just again, it's been a weird week. Didn't have much time to sit down and draw, and I just didn't find that time to sit down and draw from photo reference or from real life. The only thing I really drew was I colored a couple things. So I was able to practice values. I colored Spider-Man bust. I thought it came out pretty well. I actually colored it in 2 different styles, and I realized that I really enjoyed this sketchy, painterly kind of style. I posted those on Instagram, and people by far all said they enjoyed that more. The verse is like a cel-shaded airbrush kind of look. Those don't, yeah, I mean, you get the idea. So that was cool to realize that I like that, and that's something else I'd like to grow in. But I used that as a way to practice some fundamentals. Yeah, but beyond that, I didn't meet my goal. I don't feel like I didn't meet my goal. It's not a matter of feeling. I did not meet my goal. Yeah, so it was just a weird week. But other than that, no huge losses here. No huge, well, I mean, huge obstacles, yeah, but kind of okay with it. It was just a weird week. let's take a look at some successes with Sculpture Stories. I think me realizing how important it is to have control is a success. I've already talked about that, but I mean, I like that I'm aware of that. Now I can maximize that. So I'm glad I'm aware of that. That's a big win for me, honestly. Winning from losses, I think that's a good thing. Okay, with Sculpture Stories, I think one of my goals was to do a was to do a landscape kind of like sketch of the environment, because that was something I had trouble with issue one. Sorry with the breathing, man. It was the fajitas were good. Um, so I did that. I kind of sketched out the landscape for issue three, just as a way zoomed out kind of macro look at the area. But this will help me plan out what's happening and where the camera's looking. And I would like to do it again in a little bit more detail. That could be a good goal for the week, actually. Um, but I met that goal. That was good. And then I also practiced. This was not a goal, but I practiced on drawing the android design that was originally by Luke Brown. He won the Android design contest. I'm writing this down so I don't forget. I'm gonna redo the landscape. I'm not writing it. I'm typing it. So redo the landscape, and I'll do a little bit more detail. I want to know what Actually, I have to do a lot more detail because I have to know what the villages look like and any sort of defenses and whatnot. But if I could at least get a better look at the landscape, that'd be helpful. But I already kind of know what I want, so that might not be too useful. But so the goal will either be to redo the landscape in more detail, or figure out what the village looks like. But I already kind of have it in my head. I don't know. That might not be a goal. I'm putting it down. If I don't meet it next week, whatever. So yeah, practice the android. I did the environment, and yeah. For Astropig, I did some more creature designs, like 4 more. It's going really well. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm building up a bank of designs, which is exactly what I want for Astropig, is to be able to put a bunch of different creatures on each page. Not each page, but a lot of the pages. And so I'm building up a bank of creature designs. So I'm totally happy with my Astropig progress. It's just little by little, and I think Sculpture Stories is going to be my priority. Because I mean, like I've started, I want to finish. I want to finish it. Okay, with social media and the podcast, as I mentioned before, I created a community. It's called the Jprimecast community. It is with the app Discord, although you can use it on the online as well. It's called Discord. It's a gamer app, and we use it for our art stuff. If you're listening, you can join. Like, I'm not going to open this up to anyone. I will never mention that there's a community on like Instagram or Vero or Facebook or anything. It's purely, if you hear it on the podcast, you know about it. No one else knows about it. So if you want to join, send me a message. Right now it's small. I think we have like 11 or 12 people, and I'm super happy with it the way it is, and I think we all are. I think everyone's excited for new people to join. But we have a good thing going too. Like so it's small, it's fun, everyone's clicking, and it's going really well. But and that was a big goal of mine, was to, as I mentioned each episode, is I have 2 larger goals. One is to be doing mentoring, and the other one is to be doing community building. And now I have an actual literal community of for the Jprimecast. So that's phenomenal. It's for people that are motivated, but might be stuck, maybe stuck with skills or knowledge, like they don't know the right way to do whatever, or maybe stuck emotionally, like they're just too anxious, or they're scared, or they're afraid of rejection, or I don't know. But it's for people that are stuck, that are independent, amateurs, beginners at all levels. I consider myself an amateur, a non-professional, and that's what the community that we're building is. People that are creative but stuck, or just want to be a part of the community and help other people out. So we've got a really nice balance going. It's a community that's for people that are motivated but stuck. So motivated, like they want more. They're not just okay being stuck. They want to move on. Like that's a big part of it. And they're for finding that I think people are finding out how to get unstuck. I think they are, and that's what I'm aiming for. Uh, it's a supportive community. I'm really proud of it. It's a supportive community. It's completely non-judgmental. It's been fucking awesome. Like, we're brutally honest with each other, but there's no judgment. No one's being a dick. It's going really well so far in that area, and I'm the sole moderator, and I have no problem dropping the hammer of justice in there if I need to. Um, it's and there's also we haven't used it yet, but there's a voice chat thing. So I'd kind of like to set up like a voice chat Q&A with the community where they can ask questions of each other, and everyone can chime in, and so that'd be cool to do that like once a week, once a month. I don't know, but I really want to do that. And yeah, so it's a great community. That's a little bit about it. Again, if you want to join, just message me. Other wins with the social media and the podcast. The podcast has basically replaced my YouTube channel. It's outperforming it. I've hit my first 1,000 listens. It took about 4 or 5 weeks, and it's been growing. It's each week, each day, it's growing a little bit more. We're on every major platform except SoundCloud and what's the other one? Some other one, Spotify. Just because I don't know, for various reasons, but those haven't worked out. But other than that, we're on a bunch of platforms, and I'm really happy. Like I keep saying this, I'm super happy with how this is doing, and actually, it's not even about how it's doing. It's that I'm enjoying it, and I know there's at least a handful of people out there that are enjoying it and benefiting from it. Um, so yeah, the YouTube is basically dead, and honestly, I think that's a win because it's just not worth my time and energy right now. I don't think I was ever super into it. There were times where I was, but I never like advertised it too hard. I didn't try to spread the word on it very much. But with the podcast, I am. I'm really, I think, subtly pushing it. But me going out and listing it on other platforms, like I'm just that. I never did that with YouTube. I never attempted to put my YouTube videos onto other venues, and I'm doing that with the podcast. And I didn't even think twice about it. It was just like, yeah, I want this to grow, so let me do all these things. So yeah, the YouTube is pretty much done. I don't want to put any more time into it. I think I will upload things to YouTube that are video specific, like I did the creator commentary for issue 1. I will be doing issue 2. Those are very visual specific. So I'll do those every now and then. If there's something like a how-to on how to draw, like I don't know how to add more energy into drawings, I could do that. But for the most part, YouTube's dead. The live streams are more doable. So I've been recording and then like editing and then uploading it to YouTube. I might just do live streams and let them sit on YouTube. Instagram live streams, that's pretty damn doable, as long as I have a chunk of time. So those might happen, but I'm not too worried about it. And then also JP Reads, although I had a lot of fun with it, I think that's dead also. And I think that's a win because it was time consuming. Recording it was not time consuming. You just read it and move on. But drawing the rap artist and then editing the video to the recording and then uploading, that was time consuming. And I think it's just kind of run its course, and I might have lost interest in it. I like the idea of drawing the portraits, and I really benefit from that. It's very useful practice for values and facial anatomy and shapes especially. But so I might use that in a different direction. Actually, one of those things is maybe drawing people that I admire. People that have something positive to say, something positive. Like these rap artists had it was just shit over and over and over again. But drawing, I drew Gary V. I don't know, people that I admire, people that are making a positive impact on the world. I don't know, something like that. Might be fun to switch from JP Reed's stupid rap stuff to maybe JP Reed's motivational shit. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming, but basically JP Reed's is dead as of now. And that's good because it was a time suck, and now it's not going to be. And then art skills, I will continue to focus on these, but I think I'm going to scale back my targeted practice because I'm ready to get rolling on Sculpture Stories a lot harder. So, of course, I will be using my fundamentals. Of course, I will continue to practice them, but the time that I may have set aside each week to practice fundamentals, I need to start working on issue 3. I want to have it done by the summer, and that's only a few months away, 4 months away. Um, so yeah, it's just like, and that hit me this just last night, maybe a couple nights ago. Like it just hit me like I need to get going. It's time. It's time to get going on issue 3. I'm really motivated, which sucks because the script isn't done and I'm missing a couple of elements. But I'm ready. I'm so ready to go. So we're super close to that. And I started sketching out some cover ideas. I don't usually like to start with the cover, but it just felt right, and I wanted to get something going, so I did that. And actually, through doing that, I thought of a really cool story element. I hope I can implement it. Yeah. So those are my wins. Overall, honestly, this week, even though I didn't meet my goals and I didn't have as much time to draw as I usually do, which isn't that much in the first place, I feel like there were some big wins this week as far as realizing what my priorities are, which is Sculpture Stories and owning something that's mine. That's just something, owning something and having complete control over it. Those are very important to me. So realizing that was a win, both of those things, which sucks because they don't exactly go together. But I also decided to cut out YouTube and JP Read. So this week was good for kind of trimming the fat, honestly, and that's really good. I need that. So that theme I've had going on with too many projects, I think that got a little bit easier this week, but we will see. And then I also had the past couple of weeks, I said that I was going to do both Astropig and Sculpture Stories at the same time and kind of see what happens. And I think I've seen what happens. Is Sculpture Stories edged out Astropig for now. Yeah, it's edged it out. So that worked out. So now I know my priorities. I've trimmed the fat. So overall, it was a good week. Talking about wins and losses is pretty much useless, I think, until you have a goal to do something about those losses and a goal, I think, to maximize those wins. So the goal for this week is to finalize the script for issue 3. I can do that pretty quickly. I know where I want it to go, so I just got to fill in page by page. It should be pretty quick. Should be. And then on top of that, I need to design weapons for the twins. I know what their suits look like, but I don't know what kind of weapons they hold. I know they both have pistols, but it's like, why would it be just like a normal pistol? These are supposed to be futuristic alien technology. So I've thought about this for a long time, but I don't know what I want it to look like. But I need to take that more seriously this week because the pistols and the black hole weapons are a big deal. So I need to get those done. I might redo the landscape. That's a half goal, or I might go into what the village looks like in the Android City. And another goal is I didn't mention before, but is I want to do a portrait of Benjo Beats. He's a what do you call it? Like an MC, a producer. I'm sorry, a producer. He actually did the beat at the very beginning and at the very end of my podcast. Most of them actually. But he is going to do kind of adapt that into a cleaner 30 seconds for me as an intro. And I told him I would do his portrait in the same style as the JP Reed's rap portraits, and he was fine with that. So I'm going to do that as payment, and I've been so lucky that I know him. He's just someone I met on, I don't know if it was through Facebook or Instagram, but for years he's let me use his music, and I think it's just because he appreciates me as an artist, and he knows that I'm in love with his work. He creates so much great stuff. He has a SoundCloud. I'll put a link below in the description if you can see it. So yeah, that is actually a major goal of mine this week, is to draw banjo beats. And I think that's it. I think those are my goals for the week. No specific goal for Astro Pig, because honestly, like, my time has to start going into Sculpture Stories a lot more. I might do Astro Pig designs if I have, maybe if I'm bored, or if I'm stuck, or I need to get, step away from the other goals, just to kind of clear my mind. I think that might be good. But Astro Pig designs right now are not. Yeah, Astro Pig progress on book 1 is just not a goal for this week. So if you were looking forward to that, sorry. I'm going to skip the tools that I'm using this week. Just for time, I wanted to kind of condense this a little bit. And honestly, there's no tools that like jumped out at me as like a huge deal. So I'm not like, I mean, it's the same stuff over and over again, honestly. And if you want to know what tools I'm using, just go to my website. I have every single one of them listed with a picture and a little description and links as well on how you can get those. It's on my website, and then go to the About section, and then go to the tools page. And yeah, so hopefully you don't mind me skipping that. Yeah. Let's shift our attention to who I follow. I'm going to give you 2 this week, and these are both not artists, so something a little bit different, but a couple of people I definitely recommend you follow. The first one is on Instagram. It's at Dream Fury Comics. It's all one word, Dream Fury Comics. This is Newton Lilavoie. He's the writer. He's the man behind Dream Fury Comics, but he's the writer of Crescent City Monsters, and he works with Giancarlo Bernal. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And he's the artist. So the reason I bring your attention to this is because Dream Fury is publishing Crescent City. It's a creator-owned publisher and comic, if I'm understanding correctly. But Crescent City Monsters is unbelievably just so good. The artwork is like top fucking notch. This does not feel like an independent comic book. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't read like it. The pacing is so good. So follow the account by all means, but really go to dreamfurycomics.com and you can read issue 1 for free. Like, that's so cool. He does have a Kickstarter coming in a couple weeks, I believe. Hopefully I got that right. But just the standard that they set is like ridiculous. The writing is so good. It's a very interesting story. The artwork, like I said, is incredible. So just you gotta go. You gotta go. But on top of that, Newton Lilavoie. Newton did a Answers for Jason with me. The Answers for Jason I did posted on this Saturday. The one that Newton did is posting next Saturday. That'll be on the 7th, April 7th. And Newton is doing an interview with me on Saturday the 14th. So he's been very, very kind with his time and his support of the independent community. And actually, specifically with the Jprimecast community, because of answering those questions for Jason and all of us. And then doing an interview with me. So please support him. Please, read the comic. It's free. It's there. It's so worth your time. And think about backing him on Kickstarter once that launches in a couple weeks as well. I'll let everyone know when it launches. The other account that I highly, highly, highly recommend is at jacked_Kirby. Jacked Kirby. This is a Instagram account, obviously, but really I'm recommending the podcast. I'll make sure I got that right. Yeah, jacked_Kirby. The podcast is of the same name. I actually have it up on iTunes right now. Let me make sure I got that right. Jacked Kirby, yeah, with no underscore, but Jacked Kirby. It is so good. It's the account and the podcast are focused on Jack Kirby and his everything about him, his artwork, his legacy. All kinds of shit, right? But not just. But it's the depth that these. It's like a handful of people that I think it's 2 main podcasters, and then they have some guests. But the depth they go into is pretty incredible. It's kind of like it's It's almost like listening to an audio like documentary in a way, but it's not because it's just so thoroughly entertaining. Like it's not dry whatsoever. These like the guys that host it are just dudes that are really into Jack Kirby and really into comic books, and they they share that, but they're very relatable. Their sense of humor is I love it. Um, they're just like Italian guys from New York. It's just it's like awesome. Um, but it's like the jokes that they tell. Like there's one joke at the end of episode 2 about the Thing and Alicia Masters being blind and not knowing who she's having sex with. And then one of the hosts says, "This guy's always rock hard," and I was like dying. And the outro song for that was AC/DC. I'm not sure what the song is called, but the lyrics were "Hard as a Rock," and it's just I was like dying again. It's just phenomenal. So just having what I feel are experts in the field, but also very relatable and so easy to listen to. It's a must listen. Like you have to. I'm not. Sadly, I'm not very familiar with Jack Kirby's stuff besides just visually recognizing it. Um, but this is really informed. I'm sorry, this is very informed. It's definitely informed me more about Jack, if I may call him Jack. Um, but it's also inspired me. Like I want to like learn more and read more of his stuff and study it. And really, like he's a master. I should know him. I should, especially since I fancy myself a comic creator. So it's very inspiring. It's very informative, and it's ridiculously entertaining. So please listen to Jack Kirby and go check out Dream Fury Comics with Crescent City Monsters. Like both of these are musts. Carrie, let's take a second to look at who follows me. Someone that I want to point out, besides yourself, obviously. This is Lenny Hands at Lenny Hands. And the reason for that is because he's been just an active follower of mine, but he is the one who thought of doing the Jprimecast. I'm sorry, the Jprimecast community. I was the one who thought about doing the Jprimecast. But he is a listener of the Jprimecast, and he totally like he got it. He understood what I was going for, and he was a step ahead of me. And he's like, "Hey, how about this thing called Discord?" And I asked him about it, and I checked it out and just farted around with it, and it was fun. And yeah, I mean that came from him. It was his idea. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a cool follower, but thanks for getting what I was going after and adding to it. Like you were a step ahead of me, man. I appreciate that. So as a thank you, a further thank you, I killed his original character, which I'll be sharing on Monday on Instagram. I've already showed it to the Jprimecast community on Discord, so they've already got to see the glorious kill of his character, Elam. Hopefully, I got that right. Yeah, Elam, right? So thank you, man, and I hope you liked it when I destroyed your original character with one of my scolders. And it wasn't even like a special scolder. It wasn't an elite scolder. It was just a basic one because my guys just fucking dominate. Oh, so part of the J Primecast community right now is well, actually, we'll get to that in Lab 5's weekly challenge. I'm not gonna ruin that yet. Last week was hashtag old ladies drinking coffee. I did it. I sketched it out. I had a lot of fun doing it. Luke, aka Lab 5, he did it. And Brendan, my mentee, he did it even though he used the wrong hashtag and it doesn't show up. I'll have to ask him to fix that. I thought it was super fun. I really enjoyed it. And there were a couple of people who said they were working on it or had at least thought about it. But like I think realizing that comic books are not simply heroes fighting and heroes fighting villains, but are actually there's other stuff that goes on, like people chit chatting and potentially old ladies drinking coffee. So that's where that came from. You can listen to my mini cast. It's called Masks and Monsters, to learn more about that and where the idea came from. That and I thought it was a brilliant idea. But and then I found a way to integrate my old ladies drinking coffee into the Scoldgerverse. If you look closely, there's a couple clues as to that they're in the Scourgeverse. I posted it on Instagram, and it was super fun. I can't share what the story element is because it gives away way too much for far down the road, unfortunately. But it was cool. But Lab 5 has a new challenge for us this week.
Hi Justin, Luke here calling in with the weekly challenge for the Jprimecast. Having a look through your profile and back in my old profile, I noticed that both of us used to do some original character verses, and I thought this might be a pretty cool, fun challenge for the community. So, how it'll work is everyone will post an original character, either on Instagram or on Discord, with a brief description on their powers and attributes, or at least whichever ones they want to share. And then they'll pick another person's original character to do battle with and draw it up and post it to the relevant groups with the hashtag TopOC. So I encourage everyone to be a bit reckless, have a bit of fun, try something new, and let's see who comes out on top. Thanks a lot.
The weekly challenge hashtag this time is hashtag TopOC. Make sure you use that so that anyone listening to this can search for that hashtag, look on Instagram, and see what you've created. Challenge accepted, Luke. Challenge accepted. So the challenge is also extended to anyone listening to this. You don't have to be a part of the Jprimecast community, but if you are in the Discord app and website, it adds to the fun. It's so much more fun because we've been talking shit to each other for the past couple of days. If you're part of the community, you get a heads up about what the challenge is. So it's been past couple of days have been like just tons of fun, honestly. People have been sharing the original characters and their powers and kind of like a little bit of the history of each character. So it's been cool, and they've been, get a little bit of feedback and whatnot. I've already done this challenge. I killed off Lenny Hand's original character. His name is Elam, and I did not pull any punches. So that's already posted to the community right now on Discord, and then I'll put it on Instagram on Monday, which is 6 minutes away. God. I'll post it. I don't know, sometime during Monday. And then I'm sure, oh man, I cannot wait to see what everyone comes up with because everyone's pretty pumped up about it. So pick someone else's original character and kill them off. Be as creative as you can. Be ruthless. I killed off Battle Berserker Balto. That's from Joverine a long time ago. And then I killed off one of Iron Pinky's, I think it's Bunny Ronin, her name was. I've also killed off a couple of other smaller artists like you and me. Their original characters recently. It's so much fun. It's just so much fun. I killed off who was it? Saspo Serrato, I think his name is Saspo Serrato. He has a character Blinth, and then he got me back, and then I killed off Hero Artist, one of his characters, and he got me back too. So it could be like a back and forth thing. It's just tons of fun. It really is. So keep an eye out for mine. Join the community. Get these updates or these challenges earlier than everybody else, and just like join in the fun. It's so much damn fun. Anyhow, thank you, Lab 5. Challenge accepted. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've gotten something out of this episode. You can join the Jprimecast community by simply contacting me and letting me know that you want in. We'd love for you to be a part of what we're creating. Thanks a lot.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.